Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Nerdsters of the Universe. I'm Kerwin,
And on pizza.
and this week we got some nerd talk about. But man, I can't wait. I got to start talking about it, and I watched it today. I know you watched it. Discovery, Star Trek Discovery, Season 4, Episode 1. Epic.
I loved it. Yeah.
I enjoyed the first episode of Season 3. I enjoyed the first episode of Season 2. I enjoyed the first episode of Season 1. I was one of the few that liked the difference, the change in it. I want more episodic Trek. I want us to have a Star Trek show that is like the original series, like Next Gen, like Voyager, like the first few seasons of DS9. But at the same time, I'm one of the I loved the final, the last few seasons of Deep Space Nine when it was each season was a longer storyline. It wasn't full episodic.
Yeah. I mean, I like that part of it, but that's what everybody complained about on Enterprise with Season 3. Oh, why do you have to have a whole season-long story arc? I mean, it was a story arc. There were still episodes in between, but everybody bitched about it. And now every new series we've gotten, Picard, all seasons of Discovery, they're like, everything is a season-long story arc.
Well, see, the thing is they listened to the wrong people in Enterprise. Pay attention to what happened there.
Yeah.
They did Season 3. Loudmouths were going, oh, why is it not episodic? Why is it a full season story arc? So they were like, oh, let's put the brakes on that. Let's go back to episodic for Season 4. And we all saw how that ended.
Well, Season 4 was still okay. You still got like, what was it, like 3-episode arcs? Everything was like a 3-episode arc. You know,
Yeah.
I like the season long, which is with throwing the episodes in between. And I know they said Strange New Worlds is going to be like original Trek, very episodic, very away team, very, brought through.
Yeah. Again, I like both aspects.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're doing a lot of episodic, it's hard. It's a thin line to ride because anymore we live in our society's binge. It's all binge.
Yeah.
And episodic worked really well when it was you had 4 or 5 channels to watch. Back to the original Star Trek, you got 2 channels to watch sometimes.
Yeah.
When I was a kid and watching Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, unless we paid for cable, I mean, heck, without paying for cable or having streaming services, we still only have like 4 or 5 channels.
Yeah, I think we had 6. We had the 3 main channels, and then we had a few UHF channels.
Yeah, we had a UHF channel. It was channel 25. That was it. It was a religious channel. It was owned by Mormons, and it was like every commercial was a religious commercial type thing.
Yeah,
but we still watched it when we got out of school because they played the Disney cartoons, DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, Tailspin. They played those, so it was cool. Animaniacs. Then we had CBS, NBC, and ABC.
Yep.
And if the weather was right, we could get PBS at a very staticky situation because that station was far away.
Yeah.
We had 4 stations, and Trek was on CBS, and it was Saturday nights after 10 o'clock news. So
wow.
at 10:30, that was the only time we could watch Trek. Was at 10:30 Saturday nights. It would play. Well, when I was real little, watching with Mom, we got an episode of the original series. Then when Next Generation came out, it was an episode of Next Generation, and then followed up by an episode of the original series.
So you caught them when they were all in syndication already?
Well, we caught Next Generation. They aired Next Generation then when they came out.
Yeah,
when they came out that week, we had to wait till Saturday night to watch it.
Oh, okay.
But when it came out that week, that's when we got to watch it.
Yeah, I remember it came out in '87 because I was in the Navy. I was in Portsmouth, Virginia, at the Naval Hospital, and we'd be. I lived off base, so I'd get to run home, watch it, and then go back to whatever I was doing. Or if I was at work, we'd just throw it on in the break room or something.
Yeah. No, we got to watch it that week. I mean, it wasn't that hard. I mean, we didn't have the internet. So
No.
you didn't worry about spoilers because they didn't post anything about it in any magazine until the following week.
Yeah, the only way you really got spoilers is if one of your friends already watched it
Yeah.
and they came up to you without thinking, going, "Hey, did you see the part where?"
Yeah.
You got all like, "Dude."
Yeah, so that's what Saturday. And then when DS9 came out, they bumped Next Generation behind DS9.
Okay.
So then the old Star Trek got taken off.
Yeah.
So when DS9 came out, Next Generation got bumped to the 11:30 slot, and DS9 was at the 10:30 slot, and the original series was no longer being shown.
Oh.
They allowed for a 2-hour block for Star Trek. And
Oh.
of course, Next Generation ended. Voyager came out. It pushed DS9 back to the secondary slot, and Voyager was the new slot.
Yeah, we always had it. We always had all the Star Treks around here. Thank God. I think the original series has always been on somewhere.
Yeah,
Even if it was like 1 a.m. or something.
Well, by the time the original series had gotten off, my mom had gotten all those. Remember those VHS that had like 3 or 4 episodes on each one?
Yeah.
They were like $80 a piece.
My first wife got me that subscription for my birthday.
She already had
Yeah.
most of those, so I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. And of course, by the time Enterprise came out, I had already gotten cable where I lived, and it was on UPN, so
Yep.
that was easy enough to, keep up.
Yeah,
with.
I was ready for that first episode, and I sat there. I had my popcorn. I had my soda going. I sat in front of the TV. Nobody was around. Everybody was in school. I just popped it on, and it just like, the whole time. It was awesome.
Which one? This new one?
Yeah, the first episode.
Oh yeah, man! I was sitting there. I watched it on my phone because I watch it where I can. These yahoos don't like Star Trek. They can choose when and where I can watch it. But oh man, I was worried at first. I was like, oh, a time jump. Oh, this, but
it wasn't a big jump though. It was only like a little bit.
And honestly, I'm okay with the uniform change.
Well, that was more they said because when they had the gray, they didn't realize how much it all blended into the background of the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I watched the oh my God, what do they call the thing with Will Wheaton?
Oh, I didn't watch that one.
Yeah, I watched that after it because Ready Room. They show the new way they're doing the episodes now. It's not green screen anymore. They built this big, huge virtual wall around the whole thing. So it's almost like a 3/4 circle of monitors and technology and screens. So you can actually see what you're going into. So they're playing the stuff on the background. They said there's no more, we can't do that shot because it's too expensive. Everything is the same now.
Leave it up to Star Trek to sit down at a table somewhere and go, okay, let's stop doing green screen.
What can we
do to stop doing green screen? What if we just filmed it in our own version of a holodeck?
Yeah, that's just what they were calling it, the holodeck. The camera.
Somebody be like, ha ha ha.
Wait, we can do that.
Genius.
You gotta watch the because they showed this thing that goes on the camera that connects to the sensors all over the room, all over the dome. So if that's where the camera's pointing, you get the enhanced, for the shot and all that stuff. Oh, it's awesome. You should see it. Oh, you gotta watch. The only thing I'm sitting there looking at I'm still not sure how to take the president of the Federation yet.
Oh, all right. Before we start going into it, are we going to do spoilers this week or next week?
I think we might. I mean, it's been out a few days now, so minor spoilers. We won't go crazy, but just like the race of the president, the fact that she's human, Bajoran, and Cardassian. I'm like, all right, and then just the way she was acting through the whole episode. You know what I mean?
Dude, I like how they're kind of iffy on the president, but oh man, I'm loving the president.
Yeah, I think
The way
she's.
she steps in, here's a minor spoiler, guys. The way she knocks Burnham off her high horse was just amazing. Oh, Burnham it was like every twist and turn. Like it got to that point where I'm like, shut up, stop talking because you're hindering the situation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kind of like that whole saying, like, yeah, you've gotten you've been you've been a lucky pendulum going, but it's a fine line between a pendulum and a wrecking ball.
Yeah, I did like that because I mean she called her, but I think it's Burnham's whole character. Like she's got to save everybody. She takes everything to onto herself, and the president was like,
Isn't that the best idea? Are you saying I shouldn't be captain? I never said that.
Yeah.
Are you questioning me? Asking you a question does not entail questioning you.
Right.
We needed that. Here's what I loved about it, right? It could have been done in different ways. You could have had you could have had a character that knocked Burnham off her high horse in a sense of belittling her and just doing it horribly wrong. Like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing that type stuff. And make you sort of go, oh, God, get the stick out of the rear. Come on. But
they made her call her on it in a good way.
Yeah, it wasn't so much of it was a really though.
It wasn't like she was challenging her. It was like she was just kind of being like, like
you didn't come here just to tick off a box, did you?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I get other going on, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
We're doing other stuff, and I'm looking at people for it. I just love.
I mean, I won't give the big.
Annoying. Her character just.
You know what though? You know what I noticed in this episode? She didn't cry once. Burnham didn't cry about something, not even once. Not even that big ending. You know what I mean? I won't go any further into it than that.
I cried.
I was just like,
I didn't bawl, but like I had a little bit of tears. I was like, because they held on to it a little longer than you expected.
Yeah.
So I was sitting like, oh God, come on, cut scene.
I was just like, no. After that whole first part, like the full, the whole act 1, act 2, with all that, and then the final, I'm like, oh, no way.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched it yet, please go watch it. If anybody,
definitely, because next week will be minor poking spoilers of this coming weekend's episode.
Yeah.
So this episode 1 is fair game. Because we got to throw all that in there to talk about the new episode, guys. I mean, come on.
And I think if they keep putting them out like they just did on this one, I think we're going to get a really, really good season. I mean,
and I like what they've been doing with Burnham's character. And I feel what they're doing with the president with that is the next step in her character's evolution, because that is one of the problems I have had somewhat with Discovery, is for the most part, it has felt like Star Trek Burnham.
Yeah. They're starting to get more into the characters than they've been the last few seasons. Like, you knew Tilly, you knew Saru, but they always ended up background to Burnham, like co-starring.
Yeah, and even as far as how the characters were on screen, it was like Burnham had this whole, I'm not the captain, but I'm the star of this show type thing.
Yeah.
Not the actress. The actress is amazing. I loved her in The Walking Dead. I loved her in some movies I've seen her in. She's an amazing actress.
Yeah, she's been in quite a few series.
But for the character just, the chip on Burnham's shoulder, to me, had just needed to be dwindled away. And it almost feels like this new president of the Federation was just like, bye-bye.
Yeah, it kind of needed to go away. And I'm kind of waiting to see what they do with Saru. Like, I don't even want to really talk about. Well, everybody knew Saru was on Kaminar, from the last season, and just the way they did that, I was really pleased with too. with I forget the name of the other species already.
But the species that was basically eating, like,
Dominating them, yeah, just getting rid of them.
they were eating them.
Well, the mirror universe, they were eating them. The other
And-
ones, they said they were just getting rid of them.
they would enslave them,
Right.
and then just
When they went to hit the Valhari, they just got rid of them. They just whacked them,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was everything they've gotten through so far. Like, I even liked the end of last season. I'm still not sure. I kind of am, but the whole reunification thing from last season with the Vulcans and the Romulans, and it's not Vulcan anymore. It's got the other name. Crap.
Yeah, I can't remember it either, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I'm sure all that'll be touched base on, but at the same, it doesn't need to be.
No, but I mean, they're doing a nice natural progression. You figure it's almost 1,000 years into the future, so
yeah.
I knew new stuff was going to be different. I'm still curious as to what they're going to do with the Klingons this season. If they even do anything at all,
Well,
last season they didn't do anything with them.
For all you Klingon lovers out there, you know what I honestly hope they did? They do?
What?
I really hope they basically somewhat made the Klingon race an endangered or extinct race.
I don't know.
With the burn, that in turn could have crippled the Klingon Empire. And if you look, Romulus had already been destroyed, had already been crippled by the events that happened causing...
Well, yeah, the supernova of the sun.
Yes. The Klingons were the other big one.
Mm-hmm.
And for Discovery to be in the future where they're at, and the Federation to basically have collapsed, the Klingon, something had to have happened to the Klingons. For thousands of years, they were conquerors. I'm not saying, I hope they did it because Klingons are bad. No. The entire season 3 wouldn't make sense if the Klingons are out there still conquering somehow, but they're not. They should have been, they could bring them in, but they don't need to be coming in some giant thing. Yeah. I honestly thought at the very beginning when she was talking to the race, and I think they sort of tried to play it that way a little bit, that she was talking to the Klingon race. Until they showed you who she was talking to. I'm like, oh, okay.
I can almost see them coming in, but their ridge is not as big. You know what I mean? Almost like B'Elanna Torres with the subtle ridges and all that stuff.
Well, B'Elanna Torres
she was half human.
Yeah, was not full blooded.
Right, that's what I mean.
Okay.
And the whole thing
I think if they bring in two things. One, no, if they bring in the Klingons, I want them to look like next generation Klingons.
Yeah.
And I think that should happen at some point so Discovery can redeem themselves and be like, see, the Klingons still look like Klingons, guys. This was just a situation that happened with this situation. They need to redeem themselves on the Klingon look because what they did with season 1 and 2 of the Klingons were just horrendous.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering how Strange New Worlds is going to go. If they're going to continue to use those Klingon abominations they have from the first couple seasons.
Well, I think they learned their lesson from the first couple seasons. I think that's why they haven't touched base on any of the Klingon situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's just if the Klingons were still a big bad, they would not be in the boat that they're in right now. They'd be fighting Klingons. There's other things at play here, and I'm trying to figure out myself what the whole thing at play is.
I think they're going to do something that's going to tie all the series together, like the AI from the first couple seasons into the future, the thing from Picard where they were coming through the rift at the end. I think they're going to try and do something. They might. I don't know. I think it's going to have something to do with that, but I'm not sure.
I'm gonna probably agree with you on that somewhat. I given what the show has done, I believe it's going to be a technology situation.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, the whole show, even with the whole mirror universe bad guy of the first one, it was still about the spore drive.
Yeah.
It was still technology based. And then by the time season 2 was done, that was huge technology based. You know, the big bad was a robot.
Right.
Season 3 was technology based in a sense. I know it was, you know,
What happened? Yeah, with the warp drives and all that
the
stuff.
kid with the dilithium,
Yeah, he
but
was connected.
it was still a technology style. It wasn't a big bad. It was some technological situation, technical thing, and we're right back at it. Where what would cause this gravitational shift? Well, obviously, it's not. You know, you're not. The one of two things could happen. It could either be one, a race that's testing out a new type of space travel drive, or two, some giant technological bad guy.
Someone was hinting around on the net. It was like I was going through some of the fan theories because I think some of them are kind of funny when I read them. But one guy even hinted to V'ger from the first movie, the motion picture. And I'm like, don't even go there. Come on, man. I was like, let's not go there with that. Let's leave that firmly in the past where it belongs. But I think it's going to have something to do with like Picard and because they keep showing the little bot that took the sphere data in the last season when it transferred it all to that little hover bot, whatever, the repair bot. They've showed that a few times. I noticed he happened to be in the background or zooming along there in the front a couple times. So I have a feeling, foreshadowing or
Wally.
I always do that every time I see him too.
It's like, Wally's girlfriend.
Wally.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. I don't want. I'm gonna say it. I don't want Discovery connected to Enterprise or connected to Picard, and I don't want Discovery connected to Strange New Worlds anymore. Discovery is 1,000 years in the future. Here's what I want. I want Discovery's current timeline. I want their current timeline to be pliable. I want what's going on with them to be able to change. I don't want what happens in Discovery to dictate what happens in Picard.
Right.
I want what happens in Picard to dictate what happens in Discovery.
I like that. I mean, Discovery right now being 1,000 years from where it was should be its own thing right there. Granted, I'm loving Picard. I can't wait for that to come out because I can't wait to see Q and John Delancey. I saw your pictures you sent me. You got your Q and Locutus.
Oh yeah,
that was the ones they had at my store for the longest time. All they had was Q and Locutus.
Yeah,
and Saru. Saru kept popping up everywhere.
At mine they had Saru, and who was the other one that I had? I can't remember.
I got a regular Picard from there. Locutus, Q, Saru.
It was Saru and regular Picard.
They had Data once. But I think Star Trek has made me I'm so over Data right now with everything. I don't know. It's not that I don't like the character, I do, but I'm kind of over Data at the moment.
I know that the character needed to come to an end somewhat because Android, age, people. I know I've said it on this show probably, and I know I've said it to you and I've said it to other people. I was not happy with how Picard did Data. I wasn't happy with it at all. Everybody's like, no, they had to do it that way because, anything else would have negated his sacrifice in Nemesis. Having him in Picard negated his sacrifice in Nemesis. He survived. His mental programming survived.
Right.
So just because the vessel that his mental programming was in was no longer there, the mental programming was able to survive. So it negated already his sacrifice.
Yeah.
What should have happened, instead of Picard going, I'm going to give you what you've always wanted, friend, you're dead. No, he should have looked at them and been like, you built this, build another one.
Yeah.
Put Data's mind in that and given Data what he truly wanted and truly deserved, to grow old with his friends as a living being that could grow old and die.
Right. If they could do it to Picard, they should have been able to do it to Data.
That would have been the gift to do to Data.
Yeah. I think Brent Spiner just was kind of like, you know what? I'm done. Just do it. Just get rid of it. You know?
That's the thing, though. Even at that point, they still could have done that with Brent Spiner, because someone needs to be able to mend the issues that Starfleet has with androids. And who better than Data? Data's been there. He's been under the trial. He's been through the tribulations with them. Data would be the one that could go back. He is a Starfleet officer.
Well, now you got Picard, who's now Picard, and now an android. So,
yeah, but Picard's no longer a Starfleet officer.
I have a feeling that might change.
Yeah, with the events that happened in Picard, he no longer has the pull in Starfleet.
I have a feeling he's going to.
Data was an android that was a Starfleet officer that was considered dead based on the events of Nemesis. But if Data were to come back and be Data, whether he can die or not, Data were to come back as Data, he would still be a Starfleet officer. Now, he may not be an on-duty officer because of the time frame that lapsed.
Yeah.
But he would still have that pull. His record still exists as Data. That is, and I think they could have pushed that. They could have had it to where Brent Spiner wouldn't even have to show up again if he didn't want to. But he could have shown up without trying to make it like, oh, Picard's going crazy again or some weird stuff like that.
Yeah, right. I mean, everything changed with, I mean, I know the end of the series finale of Star Trek, The Next Generation. It was supposed to be fluid and it's supposed to be changed. I knew that with everything Q was doing. And then I wish they would have did more with Deep Space Nine. I would have loved to have seen more with that, a movie or two, because they left that so wide open. It was ridiculous.
The plan was to do more movies. They were going to do Nemesis was supposed to be the last movie with Next Gen. And then they were going to do a DS9 movie, but Nemesis did not. Nemesis hurt them. It seriously hurt them. It was Odd Number did well, even Number did even better.
Mm-hmm.
And when Nemesis was Star Trek 10, they're like they got caught up in the mentality of it, the mysticism of it. Literally, I remember in magazines or whatever reading interviews with the people who made it, going, "Oh yeah." Now, I remember reading online, oh, yeah, this is number 10. This is not only an even numbered one, but, it's our 10th movie and so on. And it's just like, and then when it didn't perform what they hoped it did, it pretty much killed Trek.
Yeah, I noticed it wasn't, what they were. I don't know. It was just too. I think they started. I got sick of the Romulans after a while too. It seemed like it was either Borg or Romulan, and it just, and I'm so over the Borg right now. It's ridiculous. But
aren't they making a 7 to 9 show?
I don't think they're putting her. She's staying on Picard, I thought.
I could have swore they were making a 7 to 9 show.
I think they're gonna shoot themselves in the foot. Because it looks like they're trying to do like Star Wars is doing with The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett. Now they're developing Obi-Wan and Ahsoka Tano and, A Partridge in a Pear Tree and the Wookiee whatever, If they keep going too far, they're going to spread too far out. And they're going to have to try and keep too much continuity unless they make it in all different, time frames. Which... technically, right now it is, but
I mean, that's where we're at. We're
Strange Worlds, yeah.
We're 150 years before Picard for Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, I like that they threw the Archer space dock in there.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, when they said
like Archer space dock, I'm like, oh yeah.
The only thing that would have made that better for me is if the Archer space dock and they showed like the Enterprise L or something like that, Enterprise M, something silly like that.
I think they were pushing away for it not being Enterprise in a sense, because you notice the Voyager?
I saw Voyager, the Voyager J, and all that.
No, that ship was name dropped too.
What?
The Voyager was name dropped in the episode.
Oh yeah, they showed it in the last season too.
I gotta watch it on a bigger screen because my phone be like,
yeah,
little ships are back here.
When they showed them reaching Starfleet headquarters in season 3, they showed the Voyager J. They showed the USS Nog for Aaron Eisenberg.
Aww.
And they showed one other ship, and I'm trying to remember which one it was because it was like they made a big stink about that one too. It was supposed to be something. Where's Hollow Queen when you need her?
I will say this. Out of every single Star Trek show and movie we've had come out, there is one ship that will show up. And if it doesn't, Star Trek people, those of you that are making the shows and movies, you're failing if you don't. The USS Nimoy needs to be in there.
Well, I thought that might have been one of the ships. Sarek might have been one of the ships. But they need a Spock.
They don't need a Spock or a Sarek. No, the USS Nimoy.
See, but that's not really anything with canon or otherwise. That was the actor's name.
It doesn't matter. That's one thing that Trek has done in the past is made ships with actors' names in it or something as a tribute to what that actor brought to the series.
Yeah, see, that's why they did Nog. They did Aaron Eisenberg's character's name on the ship.
Yeah, and I mean, that's okay to do something like that because Eisenberg is kind of a weird name to give a starship. But, I honestly prefer Nimoy over Spock. I would prefer to see a USS Nimoy than a Spock,
I have my hat on here for a little while. Let's see. Show my new hat. Hold on. Santa's looking rough today. I've had this on all day.
Yeah, Santification is complete.
Yeah, it is. There we go. The new one.
There you go.
And this one they embroidered it too.
Ah. Doc.
They had a special on StarTrek.com. The embroidery was free. So
nice. Nice.
Yeah, I had the hat on today because Robbie and I were shopping in Walmart today, and the kids were kind of giving me half sideways glances a bit in the store. So I'm like, you know what? Let me put the hat on, get that full glance going.
But yeah, no, next week will be more spoilers, guys. I really enjoyed Discovery. Now, last week we talked Spider-Man trailer, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
And we had watched it, but man, a lot can happen in a week on what they show and stuff. I mean,
they're showing little more closely on that trailer now. I've been watching it too.
Little bit here, a little bit there. I mean, pretty interesting to see what the direction is with it.
Robbie's gone, like, he watches all these little things all week too, and he's pointing out, what was it, like the Australian trailer version of it or something?
It was
the one where Lizard gets punched?
Yeah.
Also, they had a video of Tom Holland and the cast reacting to the trailer.
When
that scene happened, Tom Holland went, wait, where's the... And he cut himself off.
Yeah, Tom Holland kind of threw some kind of almost spoiler out there because Robbie was watching the reactions, the crew, or the cast reacting, and Tom Holland said, wait, where's the... And then stopped.
Well, here's what's funny, right? I've seen all the what I love are memes that make fun of it and stuff. And it showed what's up, J Rob DP Addiction Adventures in the house.
Hey, there she is.
It showed somebody had a picture and they drew in the other two Spider-Men. Because Electro's looking this way and lizards jumping this way, and Tom Holland's right here, and it said what everyone hopes to see, and it said what you'll actually see, and it showed somebody instead of the two Spider-Men drawn in, it had Green Goblin on his glider up top and Doc Ock down below. And I was like, ooh, could you imagine? Somebody else, there's the whole John Cena thing. John Cena enters the Spideyverse.
Oh,
God. Because he's invincible. It's the MCU, perhaps it's Drax, and he's just moving so slow.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they're going to do.
One thing that has me bothered, and I didn't think so much of it when I first watched the trailer, because you get stuck in that oh yeah moment. Sandman has me bothered.
Why?
Well, Strange tells him, well, not Strange. It's highly implied in the trailer that all the villains that have come over have died at the hands of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And part of us goes, okay, well, if that's completely true, then we got an issue with Venom.
Well,
but
in the third movie, didn't Venom die at the end?
Yes, but that's not the Venom that was brought over.
Okay, that I can see. Because if it's the current Venom, yeah, that's a problem. But then the Venom from 3 with Brock, Eddie Brock, in that universe, did die. Mm-hmm. So that's the only way they're gonna, different universe.
Well, like I said, they could somewhat do that in a sense because at the end of Venom they stated, oh well, we're all interconnected. The symbiotes are an interdimensional species.
Yeah.
So he's like, I can tell you things about all the other ones, and that's how Venom recognized who Spider-Man was when he was brought to this universe, right. The MCU. But my issue is with Sandman.
I thought he died at the end of 3 as well.
No, he didn't.
I thought they showed him like
Peter, and he's talking to Peter about, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kill him. I needed money for my daughter's surgery. And your uncle was trying to talk me out of it. And he was just telling me to take, just to whatever. And then my partner came running up and just bumped into him and boom, killed him. So he panicked and ran. And then Peter looks at him and goes, I forgive you. And when he does that, the Sandman holds his hand up and turns into sand. And then is directionally like flowing this way and then this way and then he's a Sandman. I mean, just because you see a bunch of sand floating away doesn't mean he died.
No, I thought he, because it's been so long since I've watched the third one, I thought for some reason he just, like, lost his cohesiveness or something and just... So, we were discussing this Discovery Season 4, Jan. Now we're back onto our Spider-Man trailer. I don't want to go back into Ghostbusters because I'm sure people haven't really seen that yet.
I haven't watched Ghostbusters yet.
Oh, that was a good one.
We'll give everyone a little bit more time on that one because that takes being able to get to the theater to watch it. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to make their way to the theater this coming weekend, probably.
Yeah.
With Thanksgiving being up, So we'll probably talk that one next week, even if I haven't seen it by then. I don't want to. I want to give people a little bit more time. Star Trek Discovery, it's been out a few days. It's been out a little while. You can watch that anytime. If you've got if you're watching it, you could have watched that anytime. You can't be up at 12 o'clock at night not being able to sleep and be like, I'm going to go watch Ghostbusters. No, not going to happen.
Yeah. They had the one Robbie wants to see next is the Resident Evil that's coming out.
That looks good.
It looks like they're going to go closer to the video game universe than say.
It looked a lot more horror than the first one did.
Yeah, well, all the other ones you got the Mila Jovovich or whatever her name is.
They were playing with the sci-fi action aspect of it,
right? I think they're going to go more with the horror video game part to it. Hey, Hollow Queen finally made it. We were looking for you. We were looking for you a couple minutes ago for something.
We probably couldn't remember a name of something.
Yeah, that's why I said, "Where was Hollow Queen?"
Our brains draw a blank. Hollow Queen is there to save the day.
Yeah. Oh, here. Jen and Hollow Queen are back in, so we'll do this again. Hold on. I'll put this back on. There we go.
Santa.
Actually, this is so much more comfortable than the other one. Yeah, there's just I think if they keep going with Discovery the way they did with the first episode, I think we're going to have a really good season on that. Then Picard and Strange New Worlds, even though from what I'm seeing so far, I don't know, because they're changing the timeline already on the Enterprise with Strange New Worlds. I mean, you could justify Cadet Uhura the way they introduced her, and I'm sure you have more than one doctor on a starship. That's why they're going with M'Benga, and instead of although there were two other doctors they used before McCoy and before M'Benga was mentioned, but
that doesn't matter, Pizza.
Nah.
I mean, seriously, those Next Generation showed us we can go from doctor to doctor.
yeah,
We went an entire season 2 without Gates McFadden playing Crusher.
yeah, with
So, you know,
against my will.
but I mean that's what you know, but that's one thing about doctors too, is they do, you know, this doctors
Yeah.
can transfer from residency and go back.
Yeah.
So, you know, your doctor on your starship's one thing. You don't have first officers bounce around
Right.
as much. You don't have captains bounce around as much. But doctors in Star Trek has shown a history of bouncing around. Bashir left DS9 numerous times to help with other aspects.
Yeah. Take that back off.
You know, Voyager started with a doctor and ended without a doctor the rest of the season. You know, just
Well, that went with that was right on the pilot, and then they changed. They kept, you know. No, Hollow Queen. We touch a little on Ghostbusters, but we're gonna wait a little while, give more people time to see it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, and it's only been 4 days. And
Yeah.
with everybody getting ready for Thanksgiving down here in the States, I figured we'd give more people some time. I'm sure a lot more people will watch it this weekend.
Yeah, because I'm dying to talk about it. I loved it. That's
Oh, I
the
can't wait
one.
to see it.
That's the one. If you're looking for some amazing out of the park movie, I don't think it was amazing and out of the park, but it was perfect for what they did. It was perfect. There was nothing else different to do, is what I thought. You know, they had the right amount cameos done. They had the story set up. They did the back parts well. I think all of it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm stoked to see it. Hopefully, if I don't get to see it by next Tuesday, we can talk about it all you want. I just wouldn't have watched it. So
It looks like did you actually see it already, Hollow Queen? It looks
if
like
she was able to go to the theaters, I'm sure that was probably the first movie she went and watched.
yeah. I know we've been talking about that for months. The only other movie I'm waiting for that's got probably 5-6 months to go is the new Maverick movie, the new Top Gun, and that's just because I, being a sailor and stuff. That came out when I was fresh in the Navy. That was like practically a recruitment poster for us. Oh yeah, she went last night. There you go.
Yeah, I got some movies that I mostly it's the MCU stuff that I want to see. I still haven't watched Eternals.
I haven't watched Eternals yet. I haven't watched Shang-Chi yet. I was gonna try today.
Shang-Chi's on Disney Plus now. You can watch
Yeah, I
it.
know. I just haven't with packing and getting ready to move. There's
Yeah.
only so much time in the day, and I had to watch Discovery though. And then if I try to watch too much and take over the TV too long, I have 3 little mutineers here that start voicing their opinion on how I did it.
Well, Harley Quinn, that's a good thing to happen. You don't want to have panic attacks leaving the house.
Right.
Now, there's a show I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to come out. I don't know if you've seen the trailers or not. I don't know how big of a fan you were of the game, but Halo.
I'm not really certain things I can't watch. Like Halo is still a little bit much. Call of Duty I can't even listen to. Occasionally I think if too much into Fortnite and I even start to have to leave the room a little bit here and there, but
I get that. The PTSD can be, it is nothing to discredit or anything, you know.
yeah.
It can be it's something you got to work around and work with, definitely.
Yeah.
So.
It's definitely, there is a lot coming out though. With, oh my God, I'm going to watch Black Widow. I want to catch up on that because I want to watch Hawkeye with that. So,
yeah.
And I want to watch Snake Eyes too.
Yeah, I want to see Snake Eyes. I haven't watched that one yet. I want to see it.
I liked the first two G.I. Joe movies, even though they were a little off.
I enjoyed them. I'm sorry. I
did too.
I got into arguments with people because to me, the first G.I. Joe movie was better than the first Transformers movie.
You think?
Oh, I enjoyed it so much more than Transformers.
The only thing I wasn't crazy about with the first Transformers movie, and that's just because I remember the cartoon, is Bumblebee being a Camaro.
I didn't care about any vehicle changes. I didn't like the design of the Transformers.
Oh.
They didn't seem.
Megatron didn't look like Megatron to me.
They just seemed way too off the wall. I wasn't a fan of. I guess it was just the script in general that annoyed me with it. Like the way it was handled, it was too. It was like they were trying too hard to make it a grown-up kids movie.
Yeah.
And that didn't work for me.
No, of course, because and then you have Megan Fox, who they have to show her as much as they can, and just
and don't get me wrong, G.I. Joe had its faults. It did have its faults, but overall,
it was still entertaining.
It was entertaining. It felt like it was following somewhat the storytelling of the original Star Wars movie, Star Wars: A New Hope. It starts out with a battle going on, and then it cuts to some characterizations and everything building in, and you've got this ominous bad guy you're trying to figure out, and then it finally ends with this giant battle amongst them all trying to stop the main thing. I mean, it's somewhat of a. I'm not saying it mirrored it,
yeah,
but it seemed like it was in like the way that the storytelling was. If you look at how the storytelling evolved throughout.
Yeah, they kept going. I think they had enough forced, like the backstory arcs here and there, like with Destro, and then when the Baroness, and between Duke and the Baroness, they showed just enough, I think, of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow stuff.
Flashbacks are hard to put in a film because it's a very thin line before you get from informing the audience of your character to taking your audience out of your current story.
Yeah.
And it did lack there. It spent too much time trying to build up back history to it. Yeah. If they wanted to have that much back history, they should have opened up with that. Honestly.
Yeah.
They could have opened up with some other event that, action to get you drawn into the movie, but then have some backstory going on.
Yeah.
And then move on with it. But yeah, they did have too many flashback scenes.
Yeah. I mean, I liked Harley Quinn. I did like Megan Fox's character too, but it's like they had to show too much of the sexy, I think. And I can't believe I'm actually saying that, but No,
and you've heard me say this before. Sometimes you can have the wrong characterization of a character. And the way that they did Megan Fox's character was straight up sexualization. It had nothing to do with the character. Like, she did fine as the role.
Yeah.
But, it's like movie, slow motion on Megan Fox doing whatever she's doing in a car or whatever.
Fixing the car.
Slow motion on some weird robot that's supposed to be a transformer that doesn't even look like a freaking transformer. That it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I was waiting for some of the stuff. I was waiting for some of the characters I didn't see in G.I. Joe when that came out. Like, I bought the Funko. I have Shipwreck. Being Navy guy that I am. Shipwreck I had, and I didn't see him in the movies, or I wasn't paying attention enough.
Yeah.
But I didn't see
you couldn't have all the characters in it, obviously. That would
but Shipwreck was like a major character in the cartoons.
My other thing, too, as far as the difference between G.I. Joe and Transformers as movies, is Transformers and G.I. Joe were both based on kids' platforms. Like, it's hard to see. Nowadays, even when they came out, it was like, oh, is it based off the comic? Is it based off the cartoon? Or is it based off the toy?
Well, they admitted on that show that they based it on the new toys they were putting out. They had the old G.I. Joe. They were trying to rebrand it, and they made the cartoon to fit it. And almost the same as the Transformers.
I was talking about the movies.
Yeah.
When the movies came out.
Yeah.
And that was one of my problems with Transformers was it's like, when it's in car form, it looks that looks like Optimus Prime. But then Optimus Prime comes out, and it's like, that doesn't look like Optimus Prime. That looks like some spray painted chrome on strings. Like, come on, guys.
I think they were trying to get real overly detailed with it.
It hurt it. And that's why if you watch Bumblebee, the overall Bumblebee, see, out of all the Transformers movies, Bumblebee was one of the better ones. Really? And he was a little bit more boxy. He wasn't as, they shoot. It was supposed to be a rebranding, a redo, but they shoehorned it in as a prequel.
Okay.
And it worked somewhat. It's a little bit better as far as Transformers goes. And that's where you turn around. That's where when I turn around and watch G.I. Joe, you can tell it wasn't fully based on the comic book. You can tell it wasn't fully based on the cartoon. And obviously it could be based on the toys because they're all toys. All they have to do is have the same name.
Yeah, that's all you got to do is throw that in there.
With G.I. Joe, what I felt like I was watching, this is partly why I enjoyed it more than Transformers, was I felt like I was watching an imaginary world of someone playing with G.I. Joe toys. Like, not playing with, but, someone imagining these characters. Maybe they'd read the comics, watched the cartoon, and they got the toys, and this is the scenario they've put forth to play out. And I was okay with that. It didn't have to follow the comic to a T. It didn't have to follow this. Yes, there's flaws. Every movie out there is going to have storytelling flaws.
Yeah.
Because not everyone tells the story the same way, and they don't always translate properly. But overall, everyone's biggest thing about G.I. Joe was, it didn't follow the comics. Oh, it didn't follow the cartoon. That was nothing like the cartoon or the
it wasn't really supposed to be the cartoon, it was just, I don't know.
What I always thought was hilarious was a saying that was going around back then when those came out. And it showed Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Battleship. And then it showed Real Steel. And it said 3 movies specifically made off toys we played with in our childhood. And the one that has nothing to do with it, and then a movie comes out that has nothing to do with it, does a better job of making us feel like we're watching a Rock'em Sock'em Robots movie than any of these make you feel like you're watching what they're based off of.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, if it keeps you interested and entertained, you're going to have the good movie. I'm just glad Shia LaBeouf was in it.
Halloween, that is where I would disagree. The divide between a good and a bad movie is on its number of flaws. if the movie sucks, if it sucks you in enough to ignore or not notice the flaws, that's a personal that's a personal opinion. That's subjective. It's not going to suck everybody in enough to notice the flaws. The divide between a movie being good or bad is the number of flaws, and if it has too many flaws, it's not going to suck anybody in to not notice them.
I think that was kind of the point. If it's got to the point where it can suck you in and isn't shitty, then you have that there. Like, there's movies that I've watched that critics and the internet just absolutely hated. And I'm like, I liked it,
Oh, yeah. Well, and see, the thing is like your next comment on here, Halloween, if you're picking the movie apart based on the flaws on the first watch, it's a bad movie. That doesn't work on me. Because when I watch a movie, even when I sit down and I watch a movie, I can absolutely love the movie and get lost in the movie, but I'm looking at everything on it. I'm noticing the flaws, and I can go back and watch it again and notice more and more and more. But that's how I am with film. I love film, and when it's just what it is. And that's where a lot of critics get disconnected from an audience. Your average moviegoer, yes. Your average moviegoer doesn't pick apart the flaws. If the flaws are standing out to them, then yeah, it's a bad movie. And that's what it boils down to, is there's too many flaws. But the thing is your average film critic, they're not sitting down to watch a movie. They're sitting down to pick out the flaws. That's their job. They're sitting down to critique the film, not go, "Ooh, I'm going to put this in and have a good time." They're going, "I'm going to put this in and I'm going to take notes on everything I see was wrong with this movie and everything I see is good with this movie."
Yeah, like if your average moviegoer, like going to see, like when I say like Ghostbusters, they're going to see. Most of them are probably the nostalgia of the original movies. Number one, that's why I was there. To tell you the truth, I noticed the music and the soundtrack, but not to the point of say you would. Like the lighting, the only movie that I actually have to say that I really picked out, like we'll say the cinematography to, was Revenge of the Sith. One of the prequels that we really don't like to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I noticed the light behind Obi-Wan when they showed his character, the dark and gloom behind Anakin when they showed his character. That was the only movie that I was able to see that in it.
And that is Hello Queen. Just take a deep breath a little bit for a second here.
Yeah.
Just talking Revenge of the Sith.
That is
one of the reasons, and that's one of the things about Revenge of the Sith is the scripting aspect of it wasn't the greatest.
No.
Your dialogue wasn't the greatest. The whole, "Oh, she's dying, we don't know why," wasn't the greatest. As a film, as a visual media, that film was beautiful.
Yeah, that was the only film I think I have to say that I've ever watched where those aspects of the movie stuck out to me. I'm usually just going to sit there, shove popcorn in my face, and be entertained.
And the reason it was sticking out to you is because you weren't connected to the story. The story had lost you a little bit. The dialogue, the way it was written, it was a prequel. It was the Star Wars prequels. They had already, by the time you went and watched the third one, you were like, "Oh God, are we going to get another whiny Anakin? Are we going to get, what are we getting here?" So you're already disconnected a little bit. And so your brain then, your subconscious then starts focusing on the cinematography aspect of it.
Like the soundtrack.
It's like Avatar. Avatar is a prime example. Avatar is the highest grossing movie of all time because, they re-released it again or whatever, and it rebeat in game. Grossing movie all time. Oh, it's a wonderful original movie. There's nothing original about that movie. I'm sorry. It's not original. It's Pocahontas in space. That's what it is. White people go to a strange new world to get a rare mineral, and they're beating the crap out of the natives to do it, and one of the people that was hired to go do it falls in love with the princess of the people. That's Pocahontas.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it was. And the CGI was not amazing. It was amazing for its time. But when I went and watched that movie, I was like, all right, I'll go watch it in theaters. I got a headache because not only was it in 3D, but if you watch it, all the background and everything, it's choppy and blends together, and legs vanish and hands vanish, and I was just like, oh, I got a headache watching it. Where I usually don't get headaches watching 3D movies.
Yeah.
It took me 3 to 4 years before I sat down and watched Avatar again.
Yeah, I watched it once and it just didn't connect me enough to even really do it again. It wasn't my thing. I just did not feel connected with that movie at all. But the prequels they did, I mean, it's not like you could change the soundtrack. It was like they used the same music for 9 movies.
Well,
You knew when the Empire was coming. You knew when the heroes were rolling in. You knew
as much as we all love John Williams music, as much as John Williams is a national treasure to media, film.
I think he kind of phoned it in for the rest of these movies.
No, you think that, but that's just John Williams. Go back and watch Harry Potter.
Oh,
and
I
watch Star Wars again. It's the same music in all of his films with he changes like the main thing you hear, like the main theme, and then all the background music is the same.
Right.
Like one of them is the scene in Harry Potter where he's during the Quidditch match or whatever, and he's chasing the snitch.
Yeah.
That's straight Star Wars music right there. Like I was literally in one room and I'm like, oh, you watch the Star Wars? Oh no, it's Harry Potter. Okay.
I mean, I liked the Harry Potter movies. I started fading off around The Prisoner of Azkaban. The
Prisoner of
Goblet of
Azkaban
Fire
was a horrible. It was. I would say it's one of the worst Harry Potter films in the whole saga.
The Goblet of Fire, okay. And then when they do the 2-part finales, I hate that. I hate movies in 2 parts. That's why Dune is still chapping my drawers. That they're doing it in 2 or 3 or whatever they're going to do it in. If it's a book and I know there's going to be a series, fine. But they didn't say when they did Dune. I even looked at the posters. I did not see part 1
anywhere.
Until I'm watching it, and then all of a sudden when they're fading into the first scene, oh, part 1, I'm like, man, the expletive.
And here's the thing, when that popped up, you want to know what went through my head?
What's that?
Oh, they Zack Snyder did. Okay, it's an intermission type thing. Come back, be able to watch part 2.
Right.
And it's like, no, you got to wait 3 years for part 2 if enough people watch this. I'm like, what?
I watched a real music major rip apart the music for Star Wars sequels and why it's insanely good. I mean, I noticed with some of the things John Williams does, like it could be the same music, like you said. They put the high point in a different section of it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, they just changed the tone of it, but still.
John Williams is a music genius. And with the amount of scores he's done out there, the main theme of his scores is different. Don't get me wrong there. The main theme of Harry Potter is different from Star Wars. The main theme of Star Wars is different from Superman. They're different from E.T. They're different from Jurassic Park. They're different from these other scores that he did. It's what I'm talking about. It's that background music that if you were to listen beyond the main theme, it's all similar through most of them. His earlier stuff, not as much as his newer stuff. And some people be like, "Oh, it's phoning it in." Me, I'm just like, he's doing what he has to. I mean, before 30 years ago when they made a film, they'd have a year and a half, sometimes 3 years to make a movie, and good to go. And sometimes it was you've got 3 months to throw this together, and they do it. Now, when they make a film, they're in pre-production forever. Then they're filming them. They're filming what used to take 3 months to film in like a month and a half, 2 months now. Throwing it in post-production, then giving the music scorers a lot less time to score it, so then they can be tossed in for reshoots and go from there. And yeah, don't get me wrong, there are numerous films in the past that have had that time constraint on them where the person scoring the film had a lot less time to throw in the score, like 2 months to score it, a month to score it, and you can tell which films those are. But
I mean, I have noticed with John Williams specifically, he puts music where you don't even realize it's there sometimes. It's so subtle in the background that if you're not really listening for it, but you kind of pick it up.
And the thing is, and I had this discussion with one of my friends when the prequels came out. One of the things that I feel hurt the prequels a little bit, and if you go back and watch the prequels and then watch the original trilogy, is too much music.
Mm.
The soundtrack to the prequel trilogy, I used to have it all on CD, and it was significantly longer than the soundtrack to the original movies, because when in the prequels, even during dialogue, there's John Williams music going on. There's music going on in the background. Where in the original trilogy, when it was hardcore dialogue, there really wasn't music.
Right.
And it was when the transition was happening or the action started happening, that's when music would kick in. But in the prequels, and a prime example, okay, a prime example would be in the whole cringy, for lack of a better word, interaction between Anakin and Padme on Naboo when they're falling in love type thing.
Mm-hmm.
That whole scene would have worked so much better if it had a better dialogue rewrite and very little music. But the whole trying to have the love music in the background as you're watching it thing complete and totally takes you out of it.
You're listening more to the music than what's going on.
Exactly. And it's like they're trying to make you we're trying to make you feel like they're falling in love. Just let us, they're going to fall in love because they got to have Luke and Leia. Just show us how it happens. Come on.
Well, the first three movies, 4, 5, and 6, the first one didn't really have the budget that they were going to do. The second one, even, because I just watched with the Book of Boba Fett coming out, there's a few documentaries on Boba Fett, and they're talking about just not having the budget. They were going to do 100 white Boba Fett looking super troopers. And they're like, no, we don't have the money to make another suit now. So he became a bounty hunter, you know.
Yeah.
But the prequels, everybody was so jazzed that they were getting more Star Wars. They threw buckets of money at it. And I think they just.
Yeah, that was the problem. Is it was not only buckets of money, it was buckets of money. And George, you've got free reign to do whatever you want. And the original trilogy shows us that Star Wars is better when he's got consultants, when he's got other people directing it. I mean, he needs to be involved. The sequel trilogy showed us that. But the faults of the prequel trilogy had nothing to do with the underlying story. It had to do with the scripts.
Right.
That's it. It boiled down to it had to do with the dialogue. The dialogue was the main thing, and some events of the scripts, you know. And I always count that as dialogue. I always say there are two different types of dialogue. There's verbal dialogue and emotional dialogue, right? The events that happen. Your verbal dialogue is what people hear you speak throughout the scene. That can kill a movie. Listen to Padme and Anakin talk. Oh, I wouldn't dare offend a senator, whatever. Tease a senator or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And then, again, dialogue when she's dying. That was, yeah, it was an event change, but it was still dialogue. We don't know why she's dying. She's just losing the will to live. You could have thrown in different words and gotten a lot better result out of that. You know?
Yeah. They just didn't seem like Hollow Queen said. The characters themselves, the actors, didn't seem to mesh properly at all. Hayden Christensen.
Yes. And I am going to get a lot of people. We don't get a lot of people watching this, but a lot of people would probably look at me and go, "What?"
Thank you.
And it all boils down to Padme. That all boils down to Padme. Hayden Christensen is an excellent actor, and he got a bad rap. I'm glad he's coming back, and I hope that him coming back allows him to make a comeback in film, because he is an excellent actor. And Natalie Portman is an excellent actor, but I have yet, I honestly will say this. The best on-screen chemistry she's ever had was The Professional. Everything else, it just seems so cardboard. Like it seems like her as an actress is not allowing the other party to bring chemistry out of her.
I think she does that, and the over exaggeration of her facial expressions. Like even when she was in Thor, the very first Thor movie, like where she's supposed to be like surprised when he turns, gets Mjolnir back, and she's just kind of like, she just over exaggerates too much on things. And
Thor had better chemistry with the friend. Chris Hemsworth. I'm serious though.
Yeah.
Granted,
I'm not. I can say what I think I see in these actors. Disclaimer, just whatever. I'm not an actor. I couldn't even in high school, I couldn't even act my way out of being sick occasionally. I knew how to do it once in a while, but I'm not an actor. I can play Santa Claus.
Pizza. I'm going to stop you right here.
Yeah.
I see these disclaimers, and I see people go, well, why don't you give it a try?
No.
You know what? I do not have to know how to bake bread to be able to taste it and go, that's horrible.
True. But I always feel like I criticize someone like I could do it better than them, and I probably can't. Never tried, never did,
One of my criticisms is saying you could do it better. I can do it better. No, it's saying you're not doing a good enough job. I don't have to know how to bake.
Right.
I don't know. Here's a better one. I don't have to know how to make beer to tell my friend who's got his own little microbrewery that he's trying to go that, hey man, your beer tastes like this. Stop it. Oh, give it a try. I don't have to give it a try. I can tell you what I put out there is going to taste crappy too. Hence why I don't do it. You know what I'm saying?
These are the observations I'm criticizing on what I see, how it appears to me.
Yeah. Natalie Portman is an amazing actress. I loved her.
She's done a lot of stuff. That's really good.
I loved her in Black Swan. I loved her in oh come on, Harley Quinn. What's the movie? You know what I'm thinking of?
V for Vendetta.
Yes.
V for Vendetta.
I loved her in that, but for some reason, the only movie that I've seen excellent chemistry with a co-star in was The Professional.
Right. And yes, Harley Quinn is right. You could be the best actor in the world. You have a director that's pulling down what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's why George Lucas.
It's mainly the studio.
His mind, his storytelling, like his stories are what's amazing.
Yeah.
As a director, you go back and watch Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. It's an excellent film. By far not the most perfect film out there.
No. I think it was because it was more cutting edge and different for the time. That's what we got.
Well, it's like Avatar. That's why Avatar became what Avatar was. Oh, it's a 3D Avatar.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so beneficial. Like if George Lucas had directed The Empire Strikes Back, we wouldn't have Star Wars. Would be a two movie show. That would be it.
Yeah, it took a lot to keep that
Kirshner, like Star Wars was amazing, and Empire Strikes Back was amazing. But I mean, you talk to anybody, what's the best Star Wars movie out there? Empire Strikes Back.
Really? You think?
Oh, almost everybody out there will say Empire Strikes Back's the best Star Wars movie made.
I never went with that.
Almost everybody I talk to says Empire's best one.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it would be the 4 and 6. New Hope and Return of the Jedi.
A lot of people had issues with. A lot of people I talk to have issues with 6. The Ewoks were too childish. Oh yeah, you got this highly advanced space race that, they're space wizards are having problems against, and some cuddly teddy bears with sticks and rocks were able to kill them. Like, what kind of helmets do stormtroopers have if a teddy bear throwing a rock is going to knock them out?
Hey, sometimes less is more to me.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Again, not that big of a deal. That's what some people say that.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the arguments for all of it, but
yeah,
like I say, my personal opinion,
my personal favorite is Revenge of the Sith, because I guess with me, it's sort of like grading a comic book, right? You can have a comic book, and you can have, clean corners all around. And if it's got spine ticks on it, not even color breaking spine ticks, but just spine ticks, it's going to drop it a grade. Right?
Like Revenge of the Sith, like 9? Is that the one you
No.
think? Return of the Jedi? Oh, Revenge of the Sith. 3. Number 3?
Yeah.
Oh, that was my own brain for a minute there. I was about to be like, Kerwin, are you all right? Check,
I'm like,
I was about to tell Crashley to call 911. I thought you were having a stroke or something.
but I mean, that's how I went to school for film though, and
Right.
that's how I've always been with film. Like I can sit down and I can watch a movie, and if it's got these weird twists going on, I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing. Oh, that's what they're doing. We sat down and watched Spiral not too long ago,
Yeah.
and it was like it played out first part. I'm like, oh, are they going that angle? No, they're not going to go that angle. And then they introduce the character. I'm like, oh, they're going that angle. Okay.
Mhm.
And then as the entire movie's going, I'm like, come on, please do so. To
For
me,
me-
the angle was too obvious.
Yeah.
That when it does come out, I'm like, that was too obvious. But then I talk to people, they're like, I didn't see that one coming. Like, how did you not see that coming? Like in this corner, they had that. In this corner, they had that. Like, I'll sit there and be like, did you not look at the bulletin board in the background? It had this, this, and this on it. They're like, I was paying attention to what was going on in the scene. I was too. The bulletin board is part of the scene. Yeah, but that's how when I sit down and watch a movie, I'm watching, like, it's funny. I'll go to the theater and, friends or whatever. They're like, you're the only person I know of that can go to, does your neck hurt when you get out? And I'm like, why? They're like, well, when we go to the theater, we sit back and we watch the movie.
Right.
Like, you're sitting there doing this.
Yeah, I could picture you doing that the whole time. And Hollow Queen, no, I don't think anybody liked number 9. But like, I still like old movies.
Yeah.
Casablanca is still one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, Casablanca's amazing.
I watched, that's when they actually had to act and direct. There was no special effects and CGI. When I watch my Christmas movies, like, you'd think, say, maybe if you were Santa, you do. I still like The Bishop's Wife with Cary Grant, and the only CG or the only special effects in the movie is when he decorated the tree with the magic being an angel. You know what I mean?
Oh, come on. The glass refilling, that was a special effect.
Well, that was pretty good too, but I like the old movies. Like I like the original Ocean's 11, not that Brad Pitt, George Clooney crap.
Oh, I like the newer one because I hated the ending of the original one.
That was the best part.
No,
to me,
it wasn't. That was
the best part.
That was horrible.
I saw that and I was like, ha ha. I just, especially the way Cesar Romero giggled his ass off the way out the door. I was dying. I loved it.
I was like, no, why would you do that?
That was the best part of that to me.
I was like, this entire movie was a waste of time. It was a waste of time.
That was the point. That was the best to me. But Casablanca will always be one of my favorites. The original, like, Alfred Hitchcock movies.
Oh, yeah.
North by Northwest, The Birds, Psycho. And the fact that when they remade this Psycho with, Vince Vaughn. That's who it was, Vince Vaughn. The fact that they made that film frame for frame exactly like the first one. The original. That's what I really liked. That was the only remake I think I really liked of an older movie like that.
To me, when you do a remake like that, what's the point?
I think they were just trying it to do the new stuff with it, but they made it just like the old one.
Yeah,
I think it was like it was a bold choice, but
it's a bold choice. And again, I don't knock it. I like watching them. I don't like frame for frame remakes. If I'm going to watch the movie, I'll watch the original.
Yeah.
If you're bringing me something new, something that's loosely based on it, then I'll watch it. And now we live in an age where it's no longer just remakes; it's remake sequels.
Yeah.
Episode 7, was a remake sequel. It was A New Hope redone as a sequel.
Yeah.
Jurassic World was Jurassic Park redone as a sequel.
Yep.
Yeah,
if you want to see something and really Hollow Queen, the original Ocean's 11, if you watch that and you see all the stuff that goes into it and then the ending, Oh my God, that was the best. You'll just giggle. You just kind of walk out with a smile on your face when you see it. I thought it was great.
What makes my thing is I didn't like the ending, but at the same time, it's the Rat Pack.
Yeah.
You're sitting there, you're watching the Rat Pack the whole time. That's what made that movie amazing. Is you're sitting there, you got Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin,
Sammy Davis, Norman Fell, all of them. Yeah, they were
the
all
whole
there.
Rat Pack right there doing their thing. That's what made that movie great. Again, the ending, I was kind of like, "Oh, are you kidding me? Why? No!"
I loved it.
What was annoying me is I saw the ending coming as soon as they did that.
Yep.
As soon as you saw what they did, I'm like, please God, no. No, don't do that. Don't.
Yep.
And the credits roll like son of a.
Yeah, it just shows them walking down the strip. I'm like, ha, ha, ha. And the ones that I don't like, well, I mean, I don't know, but like if you've seen Barbed Wire,
that's the comment right there.
What's that?
In Aliqueen's opinion, if you're not doing something new with it, why make it?
That's true.
Exactly. If you're not gonna do something new with it, why make it?
Yeah.
And then when it comes to adaptations of other media, just like Michael Crichton said when he did Jurassic Park, if you want to know what happened in the book, go buy my book.
Right.
The movie's not going to be the same.
Okay, I can understand that. And still, one of the movies I like is The Godfather. I still like it. Well, not to say why, but
I watched it a long time ago, and I've tried watching it since, and I keep falling asleep.
That's some parts of it. I mean, there were parts of it that dragged a little bit, but I think it was the subtlety and like Marlon Brando with like the face for a minute, and there was a lot of, good stuff in it too. But I think it was a little long. I'll go with that.
To me, it's the pacing.
Yeah,
there was a lot more.
There was a lot more subtlety in the movie than with the action.
It's like I said, I watched it all the way through. Like 15,
I probably couldn't.
20
I probably
years ago,
couldn't do it.
15,
Yeah, I probably couldn't do it today. I could see.
No. It would have been late 90s, so 20, 25 years ago that I watched it.
Yeah, I couldn't sit through it today.
I was in my teen years. So, I mean, and I liked it. I own it. I've got it on Blu-ray. I've got the whole Godfather trilogy on Blu-ray and the whole special edition and whatever. And I still find myself falling asleep at it. There's another one. What's that Civil War movie with Robert Duvall? It's
not Glory, is it?
No.
That's Matthew Broderick and Morgan Freeman.
No, this is a Civil War movie with Robert Duvall. It's another really long one, and I watched it when I was younger, and I loved it. And then when I got it on Blu-ray and I tried to watch it, I end up waking up going, crap, I fell asleep again?
Actually, Halloween, I don't think you'll lose your movie card for that. I have to say The Godfather 2, I wasn't real crazy about.
And The Godfather 3 is basically the Star Wars sequels.
Yeah.
I've watched them.
If they would have stopped at Godfather 1, I'd have been fine. 2 and 3, meh.
But no, it's what made me think of it was, we're talking The Godfather.
Yeah.
Robert Duvall. What was the name of that movie, though? Come on. I'm looking it up real quick if my phone don't die on me. I'm sorry, guys.
I still like him in Apocalypse Now.
Oh, yeah. He's a heck of an actor.
Oh, yeah.
when they remade, we're getting the sequel to Top Gun. You know what sequel I want? Days of Thunder 2. That's what I want. I don't care. Nobody else wants it. I just want Days of Thunder 2.
Yeah. I remember watching it years ago.
Gods and Generals.
Oh, okay.
He plays.
Oh, wow, that is an older one.
Yeah. Who was the other? Stephen Lang's in it. Jeff Daniels is in it. trying to think of some other big names that people would know thrown out there. Bruce Boxleitner's in it.
Yeah.
But no, the movie's like 3 hours and 40 minutes long or something like that.
Well, that's almost like Dances with Wolves, for God's sakes.
See, I can stay awake through all Dances with Wolves every time.
Really? You stay through it?
Yeah, I love that movie.
I liked it, but it was a little long. Like, I like a longer movie, but not over 3 hours.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times where I got to get up and go get something to drink or whatever.
Right.
Dances with Wolves is not a pause movie. Like, I don't go, oh, pause, I got to go do this. No, if I'm watching, I'm like, oh, I got to go hit the can. I'll get up, do my business, go back, sit down, and continue to watch. But I've seen it. I know what's going on. You know, it's not like Braveheart. Braveheart's a longer movie, but that movie's if my eyes are not on that screen, I guarantee you it's not moving. It's paused. It's my favorite movie of all time. I love that movie. I remember when I first watched that movie, it was like I was early teens. It was right after it came out on VHS. And it was 2 VHS tapes.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I, because I couldn't go to the movies and watch it because, when you're a kid, you can't just take yourself to the movies. I mean, you might be able to if you live in a city and your movie theater's in walking distance and you can sneak out and go and do it. I'm sorry. The closest theater at the time was in Holt Summit, which is 15 miles away.
We had movies
shown movies when they came out. That was the Dollar Theater. You got to see the movies like 3 weeks after they came out. You got to go watch them there. Outside of that, the next closest theater is Jeff City, and driving 70 miles an hour, that's a 30-minute drive. So
we had like literally 6 or 7 theaters in the immediate area alone.
Yeah,
around here. I mean, I still had to drive to them, but like when I was 16, when I had my license, that's what we did. There was no. I mean, we either go into school dances. We were a little older, like 17 and senior year. We went to like they had dances and under 21 clubs in our way. Yeah. But we were always going to the movies. We were always packing everybody up.
Like in the summer, if I was at my grandmother's, we'd go to the Dollar Theater all the time.
Oh yeah,
but Braveheart was rated R, and that theater was finicky about. I had to sneak into people under the stairs.
Oh geez,
when that movie came out, I had to sneak into it. And
that was one good thing about when I was younger. When I was 16 or 17, I was still able to grow a beard.
Yeah,
I never had a problem with that.
I looked like I was 12 until I was 25. All right.
If I shave, I look like I'm 12. But if I grow the beard out or anything like that, I was getting away with it.
Yes, correct. Not remotely accurate.
Oh no, not even close.
It is an amazing movie. So
yeah. Have you seen the historical things about what Robert DeBruce and all them actually looked like? Mm-hmm. He wasn't no William Wallace was no Mel Gibson. Let me tell you.
Well, if my genealogy is correct, I'm a descendant of Robert DeBruce.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the picture I saw of Robert DeBruce, he was like borderline one generation away from Flintstones, man. He was woof.
But no, I remember my parents bought it when it came out. And I went and grabbed it after they'd gone to bed. I went in my room and I popped it in my VCR and pushed play, and that just watching that movie, I was just like, it hit every emotion I had, and to this day is still my favorite film that I've ever watched. Yeah. Second favorite movie of all time is Gladiator.
It was good.
I
absolutely
love Gladiator. I am, me, I've never been one of those be like, oh, don't make a sequel, you're gonna ruin it. When they said Ridley Scott's making a sequel to Gladiator, I out loud read it. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
How could you make a sequel to that? He died. No. I mean, come on.
And then third favorite movie, it has nothing to do with it being Mel Gibson, but The Patriot. And it's Gladiator and The Patriot.
I like The Patriot. I like The Patriot.
But that was another one that was just it when it hits all of my emotions in there. That's where it.
And our Patriot, Captain Lorca, is in The Patriot as Colonel what's his name.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy is an amazing actor because I literally hated his face, man. After watching The Patriot, When he was acting
Oh,
good
yeah.
enough when he was good enough to do that, oh man. I do love the Patriot.
The whole movie just had me up and down, and then
Harry Potter.
We Were Soldiers was another one.
Yeah, I couldn't watch that one. I couldn't.
I
go
can
see
I
that
can
one.
believe I can believe you couldn't watch that one.
My first wife thought it was a good idea to take me to see a Tom Hanks Army movie when we were married, which was Saving Private Ryan. I didn't make it 30 seconds into the movie. I didn't even make it 30 seconds in.
I've got
I started sweating and shaking.
I enjoy Saving Private Ryan, but to me, it's not the best. So many people put that up there as, oh, it's one of the best war movies. I'm sorry, and I know people who were in the Vietnam War that had watched We Were Soldiers, and they've watched Apocalypse Now and all these other movies, and everyone that I've talked to that was in the Vietnam War, not one of them. I'm sure there are some out there that will say different, but the ones that I know have told me that is the most accurate movie of that war they have ever seen.
I could see that. I mean, granted, I tried it and I've seen spots of it and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. Yeah, and I could tell Halloween. Certain movies just don't do it for certain people. Like there's.
And here's the situation too, Pizza, with Halloween. Like you sit down and you watch Braveheart.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a lineage of that. You sit down and you watch that, you're going, oh man. And there is, whether it be good or bad on whoever looks at it, but when it comes to being in the States, there is that little bit of patriotism when you watch a movie about the US separating from England, from the king. There's already an emotional set there.
Yeah.
It's whether some people like it, some people hate it. It is what it is. A bunch of us still have that patriotism in us a little bit. Yeah. So it's already on a personal level with us. Where if you're not when you're in Canada, you don't, our holidays don't really. Why would our immediate history have that much of effect on that person? It makes sense in my mind that it's not going to do it for someone that's not that connected to it.
Yeah, well, and with something you don't take a vet with PTSD to see it. My first wife wasn't the brightest bulb in the box either. Let me tell you, she's the one. I'm Italian, Sicilian, and I'm Native American, and. She thought she would take me to a picnic on my birthday one year when we used to live in Elmira, New York, in upstate Western New York. So she took me to a place in Elmira called Harris Hill. She said, oh, I heard it had a lot to do with Native American culture. I'm like, are you kidding me? Harris Hill was the site of the slaughter of 10,000 Native Americans to handle the manifest destiny of the United States moving westward. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, thank you for taking me for my birthday to a place where the blood of my people, granted, I'm only like,
it doesn't matter.
Less than 25%, but I'm like, are you? She goes, I'm like, did you even read what Harris Hill was? This is where you grew up and you don't know what happened? She's like, well, I heard something with Native Americans. I said, yeah. Usually around here, when you hear something about Native Americans, it's usually dead, murdered, killed, slaughtered, massacred. Those words are usually in the description,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, woman.
And see, that's another Halloween where you said you didn't think you'd like Hamilton because of not having no ties to it. The difference between like a production like Hamilton and a film like The Patriot, one, Hamilton's based on a real person. Not a combination of real people loosely based on the Swamp Fox.
Right.
Hamilton is based on a real person, and granted, there are a lot of historical inaccuracies with the production. It's
very entertaining.
Its heart is there with a person that actually exists, just like Braveheart. We, some of us do apparently, like I said, when I looked at my lineage, have some sort of ties to that history,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's not fresh. It's not in our heads. When I was a teenager, I had no clue.
Yeah.
I knew that I came from Scottish clans, Scottish on one side and German on the other, but I had no clue that, oh wow, it goes up to this guy. That I'm watching on the screen. But at the same time, again, that's another person. That person exists. When we're watching it, we go, man, this happened to this person. Whether as fabricated as some of the stuff is, we're still going, this happened to that person. With the Patriot, it's a combination. Like the stuff that happened to Mel Gibson's character and his family in that movie, the character never existed. But that stuff happened to numerous people.
Yeah.
And it was like they just took that and put it in one character and based it off of a character that was called, that went by the name of the Swamp Fox, that fought and led a lot like Gibson's character did in that film. But at the same time, having our history fresh with us and knowing that the connections to us on that, that's where we can watch that and be like, oh, no, there's a bunch of Americans, and I say Americans, but U.S. citizens or whatever you want to call them. I always thought the term American was weird.
Colonists at the time.
Well, I always thought the term American was weird, for people in the U.S. Oh, American. Because Canada's American, Mexico's American, Brazil's American. We're American from north to south.
Right.
We're all Americans. It's the Americas.
But we actually,
for some reason, we are the Americans.
We went as the United States. Yeah. The United States of the Americas. That's where we came from. So
I get it, but that's where that's at in that. And on top of that, and the reason I went that way instead of just saying, oh, it was highly entertaining, because The Patriot is highly entertaining as well.
Yeah,
it is a highly entertaining film, but it's not. It doesn't hit you on those. Wow, this real stuff happened, and then the music is just catchy. I haven't watched Hamilton in a long time, but Crashly's singing the thing, and I'm in there folding laundry earlier, and I'm sitting there. Ashley, why do I have the King song stuck in my head? I don't know. I've been humming it all day. Well, that's why I got it stuck in my head.
That's why it's in your head. Oh, great. Now you brought stuff up. I'm going to be walking around the house the rest of the night going, and Peggy. The rest of the night. Ugh. Yeah, there's a lot that kind of goes through with it, but
Ashley gets mad at me because I pointed something out to her, and I was like, "This is how you know." I told her, I was like, the beauty of this production is in the casting. And she's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, look at Lafayette. The guy who plays Lafayette is Lafayette in the first half, goes to France, comes back from France as Thomas Jefferson. But the same actor is playing someone who has ties to France." Now, the guy who plays Hercules Mulligan, that I couldn't really put one there, right? Because he comes back and plays Harlequin, come on. Come on. James Madison, yes. I don't know why I was having such a hard time with that one. He came back and played James Madison. Well, there's not really that big of a connection. Okay, we've got a spy that was a tailor, and we got someone who wrote the Bill of Rights. Not that big of a connection. But the biggest one that got her was when I said the foreshadowing. And it was John Lawrence, right? I was like, both his characters, Hamilton loves like family. He loved John Lawrence as a brother, and he loved his son as a son. Both his characters die. I was like, in The Kicker, Aaron Burr tells you they die at the beginning. And she's like, no, he tells you that he kills Hamilton at the beginning. No, watch it. He tells you that he tells you John Lawrence dies, but since both the characters he die. Well, yeah, it's all foreshadowed, but he does it twice for John Lawrence because John Lawrence says I died for him. But the funny thing is the funnier part is later on.
Bless you.
Yeah, where he goes, me, I died for him. But the funnier thing is later on when Aaron Burr goes, those who run their mouths off, fools who run their mouths off wind up dead. And then John Lawrence comes in, what time is it? And then Aaron Burr goes, like I said, that guy runs his mouth, he's going to wind up dead. And then later on, he runs his mouth again, but not as John Lawrence, but as Hamilton's son, and he winds up dead again. It's a really, we got way off topic on that, but
yeah, we did.
Star Trek, awesome.
Star Trek, good. Star Wars sequels, bad. Oh, look at the little one.
Yeah.
My Binks, you saw Binks in the beginning?
Yeah.
He's a monster now. Binks is the big one now.
Oh, yeah. They're all, Callie's huge, and they're all monsters. Get rid of a few of them. But
Binks, we got to get our paperwork for him. He's my service animal. Mine and Anna's service animal now.
Yeah, Heliquid. See, yeah, the double entendre with me. I fought with him. With Lafayette fought with him beside him, and Jefferson fought with him. As in headbutting. So, but we're gonna have to go. I've still got a little bit to do before I go to bed, and then got to get up in the morning and start getting stuff ready for Thanksgiving. I got stuff I got to move to the auction house to try to sell on the auction, make some money this weekend.
Yeah, I gotta. With all the packing for moving, expect a package because your stuff is going in a box into the post office. So that's coming.
I know how you feel. I was going through the craft room and I'm like, we didn't send this to pizza. Put it up. Wait, what? Put it up. I kid you not. There's like, I've got the whole section full of stuff. I'm like, and Ashley goes, remember you were going to take it with you when you went to that convention. I was like, don't remind me I didn't get to go meet Bill Shatner. All right.
I got your autograph though.
Yeah, but
it's not the same. It's not the same. I understand.
I should have just bit the bullet, spent the money, and went.
Yeah, I was sitting there today packing up the little hutch we have here in the dining room. I'm like, why are these put over here? Who moved the fungus? I'm like, I have the pops and everything separate. I'm like, who put the? Oh wait, I did. Those are Kerwin's. Just checking with you people, you know, because.
Speaking of Hamilton.
Uh-oh.
I know we just said we'd stop, but when I saw those Migos, the Locutus Migo,
yeah,
and the Q Migo, I was like, oh my God, they got them. And Ashley looked at me, Crashly looked at me, and was like, really? And I'm like, I know. And I didn't touch them. I didn't take them off the shelf. I wasn't going to grab them. I was like, I know. Budgeting. We just had to drop money on a new fridge.
Yeah.
I get it. Anybody who goes to the Walmart collectibles section back in electronics knows you've got Migos, you've got Pops. I was like, I know. I didn't grab it. And all of a sudden I hear, oh my God, they've got them.
Hamilton Migo, Hamilton Pops, aren't they?
And she grabs them and puts them in the cart, looks at me, grabs the Migos, puts them in the cart. Now I understand how you feel.
I look at the Pops. The Pops in our Walmart, there are so many of them that I want. But you know how it is when you're moving. First month, last month, you know, security, moving, truck, storage, everything else. Because they have Bill Murray and Harold Ramis from Stripes in Walmart. They have the Stripes characters and John Candy. They have, what's the other one? Starship Troopers. He's got those. I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh my God.
I wanted to get the Ghostbusters when they had them.
Yeah, they still.
I like getting them. I mean, they're expensive to me.
Well, up here they're like $10. They're $10 a pop here.
Yeah, to me that's expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
my buddies store.
I have a
Halloween
hard time paying $5 for a new comic book, and I get to read that.
Yeah.
This is something that you know, or an action figure. Like you pay $8 for an action figure. Like I could play with it. I could pull it out and this. Like what could I do? Turn his head? And these aren't even mine; they're Ashley's. But again, at the same time, I try to find a lot of mine on clearance, or I'll hit up swap shops, swap meets, stuff like that. If they got it sitting there, oh, it's $3. Heck yeah, I'll buy it. Find them in the pawn shop every once in a while, like pawned off a pop. Like what person behind the counter took that? Like in my head, I imagine somebody coming in being like, oh, and you got somebody who's got like a Chum Lee type mind being like, ooh, pop sell, ha ha ha, and then the owner coming in and be like,
what the hell did you do? Yeah.
what are you buying that for? Put it on the shelf and get it out of here.
Yeah, we have my buddy that has the Halloween store. It's now a Christmas store.
Yeah.
He's got pops all over the place. And he still has the Ghostbusters, the Addams Family, It, Jason, Freddy. And now they have mystery boxes out now for Ghostbusters. And they're all a bunch of these little Stay Puft Marshmallow Men. This one's on a little rocket. This one's got a little skewer.
Do they have the one in the blender?
I've only gotten these two so far. I think 2 or 3. Three. And then there's one with a little with the s'more. He's in between the s'mores. I like. There's one in the blender, and there's one that gets taken off by a Roomba in the store.
Oh man, that would be great. Yeah, no, we looked all over for the other ones, and all we could find was Eliza and Aaron Burr.
Well, for these, I was thinking if I get more of them, I was going to put magnets on the bottom for Val. For little cover minders.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're kind of cute. They're really funny. But the only thing about these mystery things, even this small, they're like $5-6 a shot.
I'm
like,
a cheapskate. I'm sorry, I'm a cheapskate.
I am too sometimes, but for those,
I have issues with other stuff too. Like I was listening on the radio today, and places out here are hiring. Starting wages are just blowing my mind. Like,
yeah, I know. I was
where I live. Okay, cost of living is cheap compared to city.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people still complain about making. Oh, you're making so much. To give you an idea, me and Crashley combined make the equivalent of $15 an hour. Okay. We've got a house, 3 kids, 3 cars, our stuff. Yeah. Do we have to budget every once in a while? Yeah. Because every year our taxes are $2,000.
Yeah.
So I've got to make sure I've got taxes out there. Insurance every month is pretty high. So yeah, we've got a budget, but the equivalent of about $15 an hour. Crashley, I make, well, no, I say 15. It's probably closer to 17, 18. Because she makes like $22, $23 an hour. And I make $13 an hour. But I don't work full time.
Right.
So that's where the factors change. Is I don't put in 40 hours a week. Because we work on our business. But even before the business, it was,
as much as we're struggling up here, I know what you mean, because this area here, I was making over $40 an hour as a nurse, and we were still struggling here. It was just granted, it was me.
Places is different, but see, that's what I'm saying. Here where we live, we can bring in, 65, 70,000 a year, right? We could bring that in, and we're living just fine.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, I'm sitting here. We got a laptop on a monitor here. She's got the 3 monitor setup. I've got all my stuff. I get comic books. We don't do without for the most part. We live fine. And I'm listening on the radio and all the fast food places. Now, 20 years ago, minimum wage out here was $5 an hour.
Yeah, probably about that.
And it was 2001. I was a manager at McDonald's, and I had gotten myself up to $7 an hour. Now, all your factory jobs, your warehouse jobs, factory jobs, stuff like that, they paid about $9 an hour. So if you were minimum wage, it was $5. Factory jobs were $9. I made $7, so they were $9. So you had a $4 wage gap from your minimum wage job to what you would consider a cost of living job. Because to me, minimum wage jobs aren't cost of living jobs. Working at McDonald's is if you are trying to support your family working at McDonald's and you're not in management, you need to reevaluate where you're working. I understand it's hard to do, but that's just, in my mind, that's your high school job.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to just grind and earn money, then you get that factory job, that warehouse job. That's the job that you can go. And within 2 years, within a year, from 2001 to 2002, I went from McDonald's to working in a warehouse. I was living fat. I was making $9.50 an hour, living on my own, had my car, new car. The car was only a year old. I was making my car payments. I was partying all the time. By the time 2003 hit, I went to Vegas for my birthday. Like, I was just killing it. It was, awesome. And that was on a $4 an hour wage gap. Now, all these jobs out there, they're hiring now at $20 an hour, $21 an hour. And all your fast food jobs are still at $10. Now there's a $10 to $11 wage gap between your lower end employees and your cost of living employees. And anybody who's worked knows it takes a long time to work on closing that gap.
Yeah.
I know people who worked for years working their way up to $12, $13 an hour in the company they're in. And within the past 2 years, they're making minimum wage because minimum wage keeps popping up. Now minimum wage out here is $10 an hour. They don't get raises when that happens. They were making $10.50 when minimum wage was $7, or not $10.50. They were making $8.50 when it was $7. They got raises up, and then overnight it goes up to $10 an hour. They don't get a $3 raise. It's just it's annoying me that I'm just sitting there seeing all this wage gap, and it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary because just in that time frame, everything we buy has gone up. It's all gone up in cost.
Yeah, I don't even want to get started on that.
When you go to these companies and you say, why is this going up? I have to raise my prices. I can't afford to pay my employees without raising the prices.
Yep.
Minimum, your wage increase doesn't affect prices for your
it does.
companies as much.
Yeah, it does. Because
when you go to a local store, because
you think that owner's going to cut his profits because you think the owner's going to cut his profits because he's forced to give $15 minimum wage? No, he's going to raise his prices so that he keeps getting his profits. It's insane. Oh well, I got to get back to packing.
No, I understand. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go on a little rant there.
No, that's all right. I was
thinking about that stuff, and it's just
I get in the zone
earlier, and it's just that gap keeps widening. On
I'm about ready to
tries to look at the rich gap to us.
Yeah,
and it's like that's not. We need to pay attention to this little part here, and where those strings are going.
Yeah, my son right now Robbie is making something like $9 or $10 an hour at just cashier at a supermarket, and he's looking around. If he goes down the street towards where the Walmart or the GameStop is, he's going up to 15. 12 to 15.
That all depends on where you live. If factory or warehouse jobs are going away, because they're building more out here.
Ours are going crazy here. Yeah, ours are going crazy.
The thing is where you see them going away from are high cost of living places. They're where people are complaining, oh, we need to make $50 an hour so we can pay our rent in a house or in an apartment that costs me $3,000 a month. They're looking at places out here where I can go if I needed to. I mean, I could go to Jeff City and get a 3-bed or 2-bedroom apartment for $675 a month.
Oh my God,
$675 a 2-bedroom apartment with living room, kitchen, laundry hookups, dishwasher, fridge,
Hmm.
all that.
Yeah, around here they just put Amazon just came here. So we got literally a mile down the road, we have a new Amazon warehouse hub.
Yeah,
Right over the
Amazon's
bridge in New Jersey. Amazon's built 3 places here in the last year and a half.
Amazon's been doing that because of their same day deliveries.
Yeah.
We
have a-
haven't
we have
got
a
one
hub
out
here.
here yet. Waiting for it, but we haven't got one out here yet. But we're still getting more and more, and the ones that are here just aren't going away. But then it's still annoying. I went to the grocery store and I'm like, is there a milk shortage? No, there's no milk shortage. Like, what's going on? Oh, Central Dairy or Prairie Farms now. Nobody was wanting to drive for them. They're hiring at like $25 an hour plus all these benefits, and no one wants to get up early enough to drive the milk to the store.
Oh my
But they're
God.
having to put all the milk on a trailer. They're in Jefferson City, 30 miles away, which is about 10 miles from us. But, you're turning it, is Fulton. That's where the Dollar General Distribution Center is. Now, halfway, about halfway between Jeff City and Fulton is New Bloomfield, where Dollar General is. Because they can't get a driver to take the milk to that store. They got to put it in a truck, send it to Fulton, so then the Fulton drivers can send it to the store.
Oh, geez.
Well, they're having issues getting drivers doing that. So by the time it got to the store, it had sat in the trailer too long.
Yeah.
And froze.
Hmm.
So they had to deny the entire truck. I'm like, what is going on, people?
Yeah, our government has everybody convinced that we're all on pedestals and princes and princesses and we shouldn't have to do this, but yeah, shit has to get done no matter what. And for my 3-bedroom house that I live in right now, I'm moving to a 3-bedroom house. 3-bedroom house. I have a finished basement, 2 stories, 2 bathrooms, washer and dryer, all that stuff here. I pay $14.50 a month.
I own my
Yeah,
4-bedroom house.
Yeah.
With living room, family room, dining room, kitchen, 2-car garage, 3 acres of land, outbuilding.
Yeah.
My house payments are $625 a month.
I think I'm coming to Missouri. Oh, wait. You guys got hurricanes and tornadoes or whatever there?
Tornadoes once in a blue moon.
Yeah, see, I don't feel like wandering off to Oz.
I've been here for 39 years, buddy, and I've only seen a tornado once, and I had to chase that thing down to see it.
You know what's funny? Right over the bridge in New Jersey here, like, a few months ago when we were having the weather, we had tornadoes over there. I watched them from the backyard.
Now, I will say this: if you were to add in my homeowner's insurance and my taxes, my property taxes on it, my real estate tax, my house payment would be $795, between $795 and $815 a month. If you know anything about mortgages, that can fluctuate.
Yeah.
So that's where I'd be at. Rental prices, even Columbia, we call Como you don't want to rent in Como because it's expensive. Even Como, a 2-bedroom apartment, you can still get a 2-bedroom apartment for $800-900 a month. I mean, like I said, Jeff City, you can get a 2-bedroom apartment for $675. You can get a house in Jeff City. You can get a split foyer, 1, 2, 3-bedroom house. If you know what a split foyer is, it's where you walk in the front door and you've got stairs that go up and stairs that go down. Upstairs, you'll have a living room, a kitchen, a hallway with a bathroom, 1, 2, 3 bedrooms. Downstairs, you'll have another living area / bedroom area, whatever you want to call it, and then the garage. And it'll be on a plot with a backyard, mostly fenced in. You almost always fenced in with like a back patio that extends off the top, behind the kitchen. You can rent that for like $850, $900 a month. That's, I mean,
Yeah, when I was in
places like that exist that you can that can be lived in. That's why it always baffles me when I'll see somebody be like, "Yeah, when you have to pay $2,000 a month for an apartment," I'm like, "Why are you paying $2,000 a month for an apartment?"
when I
No
lived
offense to people who pay $2,000 a month for an apartment. I'm just it. My mind goes, "Why?"
when I lived in Elmira, New York, in Western New York, near Corning, I had a historic home, 150-year-old farmhouse, living room, dining room, den, library, family room, eat-in kitchen, second floor with a nursery nanny suite and 3 more bedrooms, full bathrooms. The third floor had the butler's room and pantries and all that stuff in it. Wraparound porch, detached garage on 2 acres of land. I was paying $325 a month up there, and I was the mortgage wise. That was my mortgage, and I was like, ha! If it wasn't for the fact that my kids, like Robbie's a senior, Anna's in 10th grade, like I don't want to take them out of the schools they're in, I would be on my way somewhere, man. Because
I get you, man. I get you. As like Crashly's at times been like, "You ever think about building a house somewhere, moving somewhere?" I'm like, "No,
3 people are tolerating that entire school.
Mm-hmm.
we're paying on this.
Yeah,
We own this. It's ours." That's the other thing. I hated renting. I despised renting.
I used to think it was okay for now because my first wife screwed my credit, and I'm not doing too much better. I'm getting it fixed, but it was like if something breaks, I just call the landlord.
Yeah.
If something's not, I call the landlord. When it was my house, oh shit, you know.
Well, yeah, and I mean, there's a trade off. You know, if my air
Yeah.
conditioner breaks, yeah, I've got to call around. You know, be like, "Hey, man, you got this part on you? Hey, you got this part? Hey, you got this part? No, okay." You know, get it part, get it fixed then, or go on Amazon, order the part, tear out my air conditioner, get it fixed, put it back together, whatever. Yeah, there's stuff that you have to do at times. Oh, my fridge went out. I can't just call my landlord and be like, "Hey, I need a new fridge," and him go to a garage somewhere that he's got a bunch of junkers that he pulled out of a house and stick in there hoping it survives, because it's
Right.
hard to get a fridge on like that. But you know, I'm making it work. Where the trade-off is with me on that is, hey, I want to paint this room this color. I ain't got to call the landlord. Oh,
Right.
I want to build a room in my garage. I don't have to call a landlord. I don't like the color. I don't like the design of that door. I'm going to put a new door on. I don't have to call a landlord.
Right.
I
I
can do
remember
whatever I want with my property that the law permits.
that's what
That the law permits, and I'm good. I want to work on my outbuilding. I work on my outbuilding. I live in the country, so if I want to go out and build an outbuilding, I can build it. I don't need permits from anybody because the city ain't going to tell me crap because I don't live in a city.
Right.
I hated living in the city too. I went to put up I lived in Mexico, Missouri, and I got one of those inflatable pools. Not the whole thing's inflatable, but you know, you inflate the top ring.
Yeah,
and
the
you
ring and
up,
it fills up.
decent
Yeah.
size pool. I got one at a rummage sale for like $15. They bought a new one. When I go rummage sailing, I hit up the rich houses.
Yeah.
Because they're not trying to turn a profit. They're trying to get rid of stuff we don't want anymore. And it was $15. I grabbed it, took it, put it up. Within a day, I had somebody knocking on my door. Do you have a permit to put that pool up? All I did was inflate it and fill it with water. What do you mean a permit to put the pool up? You got to have a permit for a pool. That's going to be $75. And if you have your permit, you got to put up a fence. And you need a permit to put up your fence. So that's going to be another $150. And then to do that, it's going to have to be inspected. So you're going to pay another $75 to get inspected. I'm like, I tell you what, I'll just go take the pool down.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, here's a $50 fine for having a pool up without a permit.
Yeah, they get you no matter what.
Is this not my property? Like,
yeah.
With that moment, I was like, no, I'm not living in cities. I'm not doing that. Nope. I live out here where I think the only code we have is how sewage is run. And we've got a lagoon. It was at code when it was put in. It's grandfathered in now. If we were to do any modifications, we'd have to put in a septic system, which is fine. But I, know how to do that. But if I got trash and trash cans full and it's not windy, take all the paper out. I can go to my fire pit and burn it. Done.
Yeah, we can't do that here. But when I had my house, when I owned my house, I restored that whole thing myself. I did the floors, the windows, the siding, the porch, everything. If I wanted to put the French doors in or change them around, I was up one morning doing it, and I could just do it, and that was great.
Mm-hmm.
And now That's why I told the kids with this move, we're only going to be at this next place for a year because I hired one of them credit people
Mm-hmm.
to fix it because I got to be buying because I can't keep doing this every time a landlord gets the whim to sell a house or something out from under us. You know, it's starting to take its toll on the kids. They're tired of moving, and so am I.
Oh yeah, and you see, my house isn't a historic house. It's a modular. But
Well,
if you know a difference between if you know a difference between a modular and a lot of people look at it and go, "Oh, you live in a mobile home." No, I don't live in a mobile home. It's manufactured. I'm like, yeah, it is, but it's a modular. They're
Right.
like, well, what's the difference? A manufactured home, mobile home, does not have it has this many specs that it has to follow.
Right.
It has to follow this, and that's it. A modular home has to be built to spec just like any other house.
Right.
The only difference is it's not built out in the weather. It is built in a building
Mm-hmm.
and then lifted up with a crane
And put together
on
somewhere
a
else.
trailer, just like they do with houses. Newsflash, they
Mhm.
move houses, people. Lift it up on a train or with a crane, put it on a trailer, drive it out to the foundation, and lift
Put
it
it
off
together.
the trailer and put it on the foundation.
Yeah.
So
I missed my historic house because Elmira was a Civil War town and it was there a little before the Civil War.
mhm.
But this area, Bristol's from the 1680s. So we have Revolutionary War houses here. I think we have anywhere from 200-year-old houses here to, brand new ones that are going up on the other side of town. But when I look, it's going to be at least 100 years old because I can't. Some of the newer houses around here, you can tell they're trying to put them together in a hurry anymore.
Yeah.
I want an old house that's been here for a while that I can redo, being a history nut that I am. I just want to go back and just something I can play with and be done with,
And see out here, that's the big thing out here is you don't want an old house out here. They're falling apart.
Yeah, the ones around here
these old historical houses and stuff. It takes a lot of money to restore them because they're all built on hills. I mean, we've got the Lake of the Ozarks. Used to be a mountain system.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like a big mountain range, but they were mountains. It wasn't people. Anyone who moves stuff, you tell them, "Oh, go move in Jeff City." They're like, "No," because every house is a hill. Like you're always going uphill or downhill, and you get that old brick that's put together and stuff. You go into these basements and you look, and it's just like all over the place.
That's what this area. This was the Bristol was the halfway point for William Penn. We're halfway between Pennsbury Manor and Philadelphia. So this was also a ship port. We have the oldest continuous running inn and restaurant in the country is right up the road, the King George Inn. And the houses here are kept really well. The Historic Society really, I know it's expensive to restore them because my old house in New York was registered and it had slate tile roof. And even back then, they were almost $17, $18 to $20 a piece to redo. So my roof cost me over $1,000 to fix alone.
Did the Historic Society help finance that at all, or did
you can get grants for it because the house I lived in was on the Underground Railroad.
Okay.
If you went into my basement, it was so cool. If you pushed a part of my wall in the basement, it opened into a tunnel that went to the Chemung River. Most of the tunnel was closed off since then, but I still had about 10, 12 feet of tunnel on the other side of my basement wall. It was cool as hell.
Yeah.
If I would have been there longer, if I would have stayed married, that would have been the Rob Cave, man. I was going to have the Rob Cave going.
But yeah, no, I think I've got things here I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to remodel. I want to extend where my front door is. I want to put in an entryway.
Yeah.
Little foyer type thing. Extend that out. I'm wanting to knock out the wall in my master bathroom and extend it out about 3 feet. Just completely. My master bathroom's atrocious as far as design. It was like they walked in, said, "We've got this much space. How can we waste most of it?" I kid you not. It's mostly wasted. And yeah, I know I'm wanting to make it bigger, but I just, yeah,
The good
I'm going to utilize it differently.
the good thing about a lot of these houses around here is the attics, they call them the attic, but they're finished because they used to be servants' quarters.
Hmm.
And there are 4 bedrooms on the second floor, like 2 small nursery type rooms, the other room in the master bedroom. A lot of people take the one of the 2 little rooms in the middle, and they'll split it down the middle, make one half to enlarge their bathroom, and the other half to enlarge, like say, make it 3 bedrooms on one floor, and then use the attic as another bedroom or the basement. But my buddy has one where he just opened that whole one room up and made his bathroom that much bigger. He's got one of them rainforest showers in it, the big Roman tub, and
that's one thing. That's one thing. Like I said, I'm wanting to remodel that, but
yeah,
overall, it's going to be fun. But we've rambled on enough. We've actually hit 2 hours and got way off topic. So thanks for hanging out with us, Hello Queen. Thanks for hanging out with us earlier, J Rob. Anyone else who watched this, if you've watched this far, thank you so much for putting up with our rambling.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, let your friends know, hey, there's these 2 weirdos out there that talk about nerd stuff and then they'll go off topic. But either way, live long and prosper. This is the way.
The way.
Peace out.
See you.